Hi everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things. I wanted to share with you today a little comparison I did on 5 different kinds of paper. What began this little exploration was my search for possible Cosmo Air Light substitutes. You may or may not have heard, but I have heard that it is going out. It's fading out, the Cosmo Air Light. So I contacted Dominique at the Paper Penguin Company, and I asked her if she had heard that. She said that yes, she had heard that as well. It was being discontinued, and I asked her if she could recommend a similar paper. So she told me that there was a type of paper she was looking into called B7. I don't know if there's more to the name because it's a little unclear to me on her response or at her Etsy shop, but basically a B7 bulky notebook paper that's very similar to Cosmo Air Light. Now, I don't think it has anything to do with the size. It's just the name of the paper. So I ordered this book and one just like it. I don't think they came as a set. I think I just decided to order 2, and they were about $10 each. That is really more than I think I would like to spend on paper, but I like the experience of writing so much. Excuse me. And I use this for journaling. So for me, I guess it's just part of the enjoyment of the fountain pen / paper experience. So I did want to try out the B7. I ordered it then from Danica58 on Etsy because Dominique doesn't have it yet. She's looking into it being a possibility. In the meantime, I said, okay, I need to track down that paper, and that's when I went to Danica58. That's where I first got the Cosmo Air Light and then found out it was available at a few other places. So like I said, $10 per notebook, and the killer is this like $15 shipping. When I saw the receipt or whatever, I was like, what did I just spend for that much money? And I'm like, oh yeah, it was the shipping. Again, kind of rubs me the wrong way. It comes in perfect condition. Their shipping is like almost like bulletproof. I mean, it's in this inflatable plastic thing. It's inserted in there, so they come in great shape, but I just don't like having to spend that much on shipping. But for the sake of exploration, I decided to do it, and that's when I also bought this travel themed or transportation themed washi. So that's the background. Kind of like that color. It's a terracotta. And also, this is A5. Let me just tell you a little bit about it. It's called the B7 Bulky Super Fountain Pen Friendly Paper. This is how it's listed. This is A5. This is the only size she had available, and it said more sizes were coming. I'm hoping that Dominique can offer this paper soon, just really because of the shipping price. And also, though, in the meantime, Danica58 website did say Etsy shop that they were going to get more sizes soon. So I ordered this. I have plenty of A5 notebooks right now, but my thought was it could be cut down to the wide version or the A5 Slim. It could also be cut down to fit a traveler's notebook. So even though you would have some waste, it could make good scrap paper for testing and fountain pen ink or any other ink. And this just seemed like a versatile size. Although it was all that was available, it seemed like a reasonable option because of the flexibility of that. So the papers I decided to test were this new B7, my Moleskine Volant, I'll just call it that, and the Moleskine Cahier, and the Regalia, and the Cosmo Air Light. I took it out of my bulky traveler's notebook, narrow size, so there actually are 5 I'm testing. I just don't have the notebook for the 5th one in front of me. to test it, I decided to use my Tatcha Suchi, which is golden wheat. I love this fountain pen ink. It's just the kind of brown, golden, caramely color that I enjoy. And I put it in my new Benu Euphoria, which is the Armenian baklava, which looks very honeyish, caramely, amber. It's a beautiful pen. I've really enjoyed writing with this. It's got the Schmidt nib in it, and I have a broad nib. And so I've been enjoying the writing experience with that so much, I decided to kind of compare how that very much liked combination would work on different papers. So I selected this portion from the Bible that I had been thinking about, that was talked about in Sunday school, and I just wrote that numerous times. So let's start with the Regalia. That's what I have in this. This is my notebook I use for church notes. I also have one I use for ink swatching. And it did tear a little bit when I took it out. So the things I was considering after writing these all were things I how do you say it? The things I considered was, did it feel smooth to write? Did it have feedback? How was the shading? How was the control of the pen on paper? For me, did it feel slippery? Did I feel like my writing was sloppy, or did I feel like I just had a good control, which matters to me in writing? How was the color of the ink? Was there bleed through? Was there feathering? So with the Regalia, this is an 8 GSM, and this is a white paper. You can see, I hope, I know it doesn't always come through, via screen, but this is white and these are more off-white or more cream. I just labeled them as off-white or cream, although the Cosmo Air would be the closest to this next in line. So anyway, Regalia 80 GSM, and this paper has a slight feedback. Some maybe would call it a drag, like not like, hey man, it's a drag, but like there's a drag to the writing. I like this. I like how I have control over my writing. The pen on paper doesn't slip and slide too much. So I said excellent control. The color on this really stands out against the white background, but it does seem slightly more brown than golden as on the B7, which we will get to next. And it does seem to have less of the hand oil issues where it doesn't quite, where the ink doesn't quite stick to the paper. So I really like Regalia paper. I've had really a good experience with most of my pens and papers with that. Okay, next is the B7, and that is the new one from Danica 58, just to refresh your memory, this one. I think the shading on this is amazing. Look at just that word off-white. You can see all kinds of shading going on. I had really good shading control with this, and just a little of a slight feedback or toothiness. By that, for me, it wasn't, I'm not meaning in a bad way, but just a little bit of the feel of the nib on the paper versus a slick, icy, or glass feel to it. There is a little bit of something going on. This paper is excellent. No bleed through, no feathering, but it is a heavier paper. It's not like the Tomoe River at all. I do have a Sanzen new Tomoe River, but I did not put that in my rotation here because I haven't been using that lately. I think this feels fantastic to write upon this paper. And then next is the Cosmo Air Light. Generally, I have a very favorable experience with this as well. There's great shading here. I almost felt like It's comparable, really. Because this is white, I think the contrast shows up a little more on the shading. You can really see it here in the words that I wrote. I love that. I think that's so much fun. That was one of my first favorite features about fountain pennings when I just started out, and I still love it. I had a little bit of a difficult time today writing. I think I just had my hand or something on here too much, so I really wasn't having a great writing experience, but normally I do love this paper, and sorry to hear that it is going away. This is a slightly off-white paper and generally very favorable. I had a really hard time finding much difference at all in these three. The B7, since it's more of a cream color, quite a bit more than the Regalia white. It's really a noticeable difference here. They both show the shading so wonderfully, but it just seems a little richer here to me. Again, probably the background color. Let's see, is there anything else? Good control with this, great shading, the slight feedback or toothy quality in a positive way. Nothing that makes it seem hard to write with or unpleasant for me. I know we all have different paper preferences, but for me, this is super nice. Yeah, I have written on the Clairefontaine and felt like that was like writing in pudding or something. I didn't like it at all. I was very disappointed when I first tried it. This to me is much less that experience. Some control, some slowing down of the pen, but not any way like that. These are the two Moleskine ones. So we have the Volant and the Cahier. So, as my friend calls it, Cahier is more accurate to the French, I believe. Anyway, okay, let's do it this way. This is this. I would have thought these were the same papers, and please comment below if I have this all wrong, but when I was writing with them today, same pen and ink, same passage, same everything, the experience on the Volant was much more favorable. It was smooth, it felt great to write with, but look, there's no bleed through. When you look at the Moleskine Cahier, there's a ton of bleed through. I mean, to feel those, they feel pretty similar, but that just is very interesting to me. So I'm guessing there's some difference in the two different versions of this company's paper. On the Cahier, 70 GSM, by the way, and again, an off-white or cream color. There's no shading, there's no color variation. The feel of writing was fine. I liked it. I didn't think, oh, this has got too much drag to it, this is too coated. It really was pleasant to write with, but there's like this feathering quality where it's just not crisp and sharp looking, and the shading is just lost. It's so beautiful on this, and it's nothing here. And you may be able to see too how much more rich the color is. It's all monochromatic here. There's a lot of variation there. But it does feel nice, slight feedback, but decent control. But the other elements of this make it not as desirable to me. I am using this in my current memory daily happenings notebook, and so I'll finish that off, but it does kind of create a bit of a nuisance to have that like that. And then to back up, here's the Volant, off-white or cream, nice writing and decent control. It's like, again, no bleed through, no feathering, but you really don't get much color variation. You don't get anything like what you get when you take a close look at the Cosmo Air Light, close look at the Regalia. or a close look at this is the Regalia, sorry, or the B7. The shading on these are so neat. And these are just like, not bad writing, but it's not enchanting writing. It's workable, but loses the appeal when compared to this. Let me show you my new, this is my new wide or A5 Slim, and I am using this, like I just said, for daily memory keeping and so forth. But you can see all the bleed through there. The bleed through here, I kind of made a collage page there. When I used a Sharpie type pen, it was okay. There was no bleed through really with that. It does ghost. That seems doable, but here it's a little bit difficult for me to want to write on top of that, because I feel like the new writing then is going to bleed through here, and it's just all gonna look very sloppy. It may not matter in the whole scheme of things. I don't know if I'll ever reread these journals, really. I just enjoy the process of creating them and glancing at them when I'm done, but I still don't like the bleed through. So there is that, primarily done to introduce you to this if you are not familiar with it. And I want to thank Dominique at Paper Penguin Co. I don't know that she would ever even watch this, but if word gets to her, she is the one that put that bug in my ear, and then I was able to track it down on Danica 58. And I do feel like this B7 paper is very good. It's smoother than it's comparable to the Regalia and the Cosmo Air. It has maybe a smoother feel to it. I didn't notice that much difference with writing. I was happy with those three writing experiences quite a bit. No complaints, really. These were the two that like, I can do it, but it's not as fun. So this may be something to look into. If you know where else I can buy this, where this is available, it'd be great if you would add that in the comment section to help all of us. I am excited about having something so similar to the Cosmo Air Light, but again, I have enjoyed Regalia. I just don't think this is very readily found or in many sizes. So hoping to find that B7 or Regalia offered in other size selections, but you can always cut it down, but it seems like a waste after a while to me. So that's all. Hope that's helpful. Hope that gives you a little idea of something else to consider if you need some other ideas on paper. If you're enjoying the Sands in Tomoe River paper, I would like to hear your comments about that too. I have not explored that as much as I need to, only because I was at a happy place with Cosmo Air Light. Now that that's fading away, I'm considering other options. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.